Welcome back to You Suck at Looping, where your loops are still trash, but at least you're self-aware. Today we're tackling something that separates the good loopers from the absolute train wrecks. Timing. Your timing's garbage, and that's why your loops sound like a broken merry-go-round. If that's what your loops sound like, let's fix it. Timing is the difference between sounding like a pro and sounding like a toddler in the kitchen banging together pots and pans. To help demonstrate the proper concepts of timing, we're going to once again visit the wall of wisdom.
Hello, and welcome once again to the Wall of Wisdom. In today's concepts, we'll be looking at timing, because remember, timing is everything. In today's episode, we'll be showing multiple things. The examples shown will vary in difficulty, but be based around 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'll do my best to only use one channel. Remember, the downbeat is always 1. Now, I'm not very excited to do this, but we'll briefly touch on the topic of PreBeat Entry. It's extremely risky, and I personally do not recommend it. If you do happen to be lucky enough to get it right, it is worth the risk. I look at early entry differently than most. Let's take a look at the metronome. Metronome is a necessary evil for practice. Play with it often. If you don't know how to play with it, you will not have any friends. That is a promise. Just remember, it's okay to fail. We all do sometimes. It's much more important that we try.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. We're going to try to do this with some instruments now. We're going to start with the guitar. I'm going to use the floor pedal for some of these examples for the single channel loopers out there. When I hit it, it starts it. When I hit it again, it stops it. Hit it again. Overdub. I can't delete. Without my hand. I'll have to use my hand to delete, but that's not a big deal. Anyway, moving on. Guitar. Let's start with guitar. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4 first. Whenever you're doing this, I recommend counting first or playing one full time first. Count while you play. If you don't count while you play, you're crazy. You're never going to be able to play with anybody. Anyway, moving on. Let's try this example real quick. Stomping your foot is probably the most important thing of all this. So when we're playing here, I want you guys to really, really be cognizant. What your foot should be doing every single time the 1 comes around is your foot should be going down, like you're stomping on a bug or something. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. When the beat comes back around, the point necessarily is to just move your foot to the looper on the 1. That's all you really got to do. You just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And as long as your foot is doing the thing on the 1, you just move it over and you're always going to be on time. It feels really silly to practice this. A lot of people don't count. Just do it. Just do it, do it, do it. I'm going to start with a basic guitar sample here. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll use my foot for this. Now you'll notice as the beat goes, every single time it gets back to the 1, we don't get any kind of doubles, any jumps, any skips, or anything like that. That's super important. If that happens when you are recording a loop, stop the loop, make it over. It's not worth it. Trust me. All right, we'll move on to the keyboard. If you guys don't know about the MPK Mini by Akai, it's probably one of the most versatile keyboards that you could use with this. They actually added a headphone output, so you can run it to your looper. This thing does a lot of damage. It's got drum pads and it's got keys, so you can play on it as well. We'll do an example with the finger pads. Moving on, drum pad. Now, quick note about the drum pad. I started with a cat pad. I used that for about 1.5 years. That was pretty solid. Main reason I use this is it imports your own samples and the sound quality is phenomenal. So there's no reason to really need another drum pad. Professional drummers use this in tour. It's really, really pricey. So I'd probably start with a cat pad or either the finger pads on the Akai to get started, because it'll give you enough of a sound quality to get through it. When you're ready to upgrade, that's when you'd move on to this, is when you need more dynamic and layers, and we'll get to that in another lesson. Now, sometimes as you go through this, it's going to feel really robotic. It's going to feel really stiff. But as you add different layers in between, as we'll explain, you get a lot more dynamic. It doesn't sound robotic to the listener. It sounds robotic to you because you're doing it the right way. Oh, yeah, voice. Voice is another really, really good one to use. You can start in a lot of different places with voice. This looper, you'll find a lot of voice beatboxers that use this looper. I'm not really a beatboxer. I recommend the words boots and cats. It's probably the easiest thing when you first start looping to say is boots and cats, and it's pretty funny. So we'll do boots and cats. So like boots and catsa, I guess. That would be a better explanation for it. Don't forget about harmonica. Oh, don't forget about tambourine. Maraca. All right, let's take this example of an extremely popular song for the PreBeat Entry theory. Now, there's a bass line that you're supposed to play, and there's a way that you can get into it. I'm going to play the song on the one, and then I want you to listen for the PreBeat Entry. I'll mark it in the video. This is about the best example I can find for PreBeat Entry and something that applies to it. I don't recommend doing it ever. I recommend playing PreBeat Entry in the sense of you play through a chord progression one time, then hit the loop button, then play it.
shit's hard.